A commandment is a will of Hashem. When a person fulfills the will, he is bringing out a revelation of the Eibishter's will and desire. Because the will comes from Tainuk.
So that statement should go on every mitzvah.
It goes on everything. But Lepeil, because the inyan of Karbonis reaches up in a very high level, as the Zayar says, Roza de Kurbana, Eilad Roza de Insof, that the secret of the sacrifices reach up to the infinite, ultimate infinite. So therefore, the Medrash is also reflected that it goes on Karbonis. I mean, you see from the references that it's Parsha Pinchas, speaks about sacrifices, and then Sifri and Pirish Rashi, and then you go weiter. Okay, weiter is already a different Chazal, but this is Lepeil, the Karbonis. The smell from the sacrifices.
Nachas ruach is a little bit different.
Right. Vi Amru Razal. But the Reach Necheach, what our sages say, Nachas ruach of it's a pleasure, is on that on those words, Reach Necheach. Because it is taking Gashmias, making it into Ruchnias. But it actually goes for everything.
Let's say somewhere Reach, the smell of the Eibishter of the Korban is something.
By Yorach Hashem as Reach Necheach, by Korban, by Kneach. It's an inyan that the Reach Bechlal has a very strong impact. We see it in a person, Al Derech Zeh, it reaches on a higher level in a spiritual sense. This is in other words like this. There's a klal in Chazal. Teire klolus uprotis nemra. Klolus uprotis means that there are certain inyanim which are in a general format, and then you have inyanim which are more. The inyanim of Teire, they're also given in protis in detail. Karbonis is the symbol of taking Gashmis and making it into Ruchnis, and B'meila bring out Nachas Ruach, but it's actually everything that a person does and connects to godliness. He is taking something and making from the Yesha Ayin. There's a word from the Rebbe, I don't know where it is, it rang in my ears already a few times this last week, so I was wondering where that word is. But the Rebbe said, it says, what's the union of Karbanas? He takes a Balchai, something that's living, and he makes it Ayin. And macht es uis mitzias. Makes it uis, no entity. It takes away that's the union of sacrifice. This is the union of Bitl HaYesh La'ayin. So this is in the Beis HaMikdash, but this is a general overview of everything that a person takes the physical world and converts it to a spiritual world, spiritual standards. It's only that by Korbanos it says B'myuchad, especially by Korbanos. Al-derech, like we have the lesson of Pesach Sheni, that it's never too late. Where do we have it? Only we have it by Pesach. Although the Rebbe says it's a lesson for everything. But because Pesach is the birth of the Jewish nation, so the Rebbe says, therefore, it is vital that a person should be able to compensate if he missed out on something. Mitzad Eibishter's Almighty's goodness, He gave us this option, this chance that we can still make it up. So it's Pashgocha Prot, it's only them, but it's a lesson for always. So now the Rebbe continues what Tshuva accomplishes in the person. That through Tshuva, a person accomplishes in the Neshama in something new, something exclusive. The simple meaning of the word Tshuva means returning. Returning. That it's going back to her original place. So l'cheira, what's the new inyan here? Which is interesting. You look in the footnote in 45. Igeres HaTshuva Madura Kama. This is the first version of Igeres HaTshuva, which was printed in one Tanya, in one published Tanya, one edition, and later it was taken out, and the Alter Rebbe 7 years later put in the second version. So this first version, there are a lot of things that the Rebbe is still quoting from there. And the Rebbe asked they should print the Igeres Tanya. 1982, they printed the Tanya, the first version. We don't have Peidik Lamed Beis in there, Peidik Lev is not in there, he just skips it over. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. But then the Mamish changed around the Igeres HaTshuva, and this is it's completely a different style. So b'meila, the question is, what does it mean it's a new thing? That when it comes back to the place where it came from, so it's not that it comes back to the place where it was on the level of a creation. That it says, in other words, that Nivra, as a Nivra, connects, is able to connect, and Dafke through her descent to Shorosh HaMekeira. How is that accomplished? Is Vineklolos Avedas Odom Apielos as Aliyah Anal Benishami Dafke Bechumris Vegashmis Eilam. What is the ingredients? What are the what is it that powers the elevation that a neshama should be able to elevate higher? It is Dafke through the descent in this low world, low-class world, which is Chumrius, and also Gashmius, the physical world. And it's interesting. First he says Chumrius, then he says Gashmius. If you see early in the Maimer, the Rebbe says first Gashmius and Chumrius. Because Gashmius means the legitimate physical needs that a person needs. Chumrius is already just added pleasures or luxuries. So mainly it's already Chumrius means also Lashon Chameir. As the Maralma Prague writes, that the union of in other words, it's already lower class than the logistics that a person needs. So he says over here, he says Chumrius. So the Rebbe wants to bring out the Maila Dafke when he lowers himself down till Chumrius, and also Gashmis, which is higher. And it's brought down, in general, it breaks down into three pillars on what the world stands. Teira, studying Teira and prayer, and being and doing generous deeds. And these three pillars are explained in a different place, how they are reflected in the person. The study of Torah relates to matters of the mind, because this is what the person is learning, so he's learning with his mind. And the inyanim of prayer is to accomplish in all the matters of the whole body, which is to refine his whole conduct. Generous deeds in I'm speaking about deeds, this is already outside of him. Because the deeds, the potential of deed, the characteristic of deed is something that is outside of him, how he relates to the outside world. So it's accomplished in the Jewish nation and the world around. The Rebbe is getting back now to the beginning of the Maimer. But this is what it says, Padav Shalom, that he redeemed in peace, and redeemed in peace. This is accomplished through the Aved and these three pillars. So we accomplished the redemption and elevation from this great descent. An elevation which is the highest level. The This pasuk, this verse, that you have redeemed my soul in peace from being engaged in war, because many were with me, sided with me. So this verse also refers to repentance. Literally, it discusses the Milchama of David HaMelech, King David, in comparison to the Milchama waging with Avshalom, his son. The Bisman HaMilchama Lefnei Habdiya, in the time of the Milchama, before the redemption, it went on for 6 months. Yeshak Levitari B'Gemara, so the Gemara asks, Im hoya leidin melech ligabi akrovas soyer shel korban nasi. It says in Chumash, in Parsha Vayikra, that if a person sins, there's a certain sacrifice he has to bring. What if an anointed Kayan sinned? He has to bring a sacrifice. What if a leader sinned, a king sinned? So there's different sacrifices. So there is a doubt and a discussion mentioned in the Jerusalem Talmud. If David HaMelech had the category of a king, a title of a king then or not, during the war with Avshalom in those 6 months, which Lemaisa, what in a practical sense, what's the difference? The difference is because what sacrifice he would have to bring if he sinned.